China genuinely just banned EV fires as of next year in June. So let's go over the new law, which has got a really great name, GB 3803122025. That's the name of the law. It sounds like a new Toyota, actually. And it officially comes into effect, July, not June, July 1st, 2026. So this video is to cover that extensively, so we all know what it means, because literally it pertains to all of the vehicles that we drive. So it's issued by China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, or otherwise abbreviated as MIIT, the same department that regulates EV production standards, tech and testing protocols. And this law is crystal clear, and it's not very big actually when you read it from top to bottom. Electric vehicle batteries must not catch fire or explode, even in the middle of crashes or thermal runaway events or back-to-back fast charging. So they're not just suggesting safety, they're not touting it, they're mandating safety, which is fantastic. What a beautiful thing to do, because any car can be tricky to deal with if it's on fire. Brilliantly done, China. So the new law introduces several testing requirements that all EV batteries must now pass before being approved for road use in China. So one of the tests, thermal runaway test. Even if one of the cells goes into failure, the whole pack must not ignite. Period. No flames visible outside of the battery pack. Crash test. Batteries must hold together under physical impact with no leakage, no short circuits, and no flames visible. Again, obviously, no ignition. So fast charging, this is an interesting one, must handle repeated high-speed DC charging with zero overheating risk. So what they're saying is they won't accept cars without proper battery cooling, which is great. I've been chirping on about this for the last couple of years. Last year, China registered over 8 million new energy vehicles, which includes EVs, plug-in hybrids, and hydrogen cars, of course. Not many hydrogens, though. Of those cars, so 8 million, 24 battery fires were officially reported in China. That is just 0.0003%. So that sounds pretty small, and it is. It's pretty small, obviously. But when you scale that up, so up to 50 million, for example, on Chinese roads by 2030, even that 0.0003% adds up to quite a few. That's like 150 or something like that. Hi folks, Ben Alexander here. This is the Charge Show. China just passed this law, and there are a few questions that people will undoubtedly have, such as, how will they enforce it? What happens if in the street a car does set on fire? What happens to the manufacturer? What happens to the person who owns the car? Is the owner of the car any bother, for example? Let's break it down, what exactly the law says, and what it actually means for BYD, CATL, for example, and every other battery manufacturer, basically, and why this could change the global EV industry forever, because this the changes made here will be spreading throughout the world, not just China, of course. So let's just jump into it. So the MIIT will be overseeing testing, approval, and audits as well. But car makers themselves will also be legally responsible. So if you're BYD or CATL or NIO, for example, a car with your battery, if it catches fire in 2027, the year after, even once, you may face, and this is where it gets pretty scary for the manufacturers, $1.5 billion worth of fines up to. They may ban you from selling cars until they've decided it's otherwise safe. Factory investigations, loss of regulatory certification. It's very serious, of course. It basically turns battery safety into a legal liability, not just a reputational issue. So for us, the consumers, it's fantastic. It's brilliant. We couldn't hope for better, because we just don't need to do anything. It just means our cars are safer. So let's talk about the big companies then, because they're not just waiting for 2026 to start prepping. They've already been doing stuff. For example, BYD's Gen 2 battery already got the approval, already good, and that's ahead of the curve. It's passed all the nail penetration tests, of course. That's one of the basic ones. And that was done in 2020. And Gen 2, obviously 210 watt-hours per kilo rather than 150, 15% lower cost, smaller, lighter, more thermally stable. And they actually made sure to stiffen the metal down the sides of the cars as well to protect the battery in case there's a really hard hit on the side. As Sandy Munro said, if you watch his teardown of the BYD Shark, which is brilliant, very impressive, he was very impressed with it. They stiffened up the panels at the sides of the BYD Shark, at the sides of the battery, so much by adding a second sheet of really thick steel on top of it, and then drip welding in the middle and all around the edges, so that basically it was really, really strong. And he was very shocked at how strong that made it, actually. And that's basically protecting the battery in case of any side impacts. So I strongly recommend going to watch the video if you're interested in the Shark, because it's just fascinating. All of the teardowns from Munro, brilliant. CATL has launched their Qilin battery, which hits up to 255 watt-hours per kilogram, so more energy dense, 72% volume utilization inside, built-in thermal isolation between cells, so they've actually put some, is it kind of like aerogel or something in between each cell? And the teardown of this battery is frankly art, for lack of a better word. It's masterful is what it is. It's great. And it's passed every required fire safety test, including being physically pierced, exposed to heat, and fast charged under stress without fire or explosion. So yeah, the two biggest battery makers in China are already building around this standard. Now here's the question some of you might be asking. Can a law really stop a fire? No. No law can physically prevent chemistry. But what this does is it forces all the automakers and the battery manufacturers to redesign around failure, putting failure and consequences at the heart of the industry rather than allowing it to be a byproduct of the industry. So that means more spacing between the cells and more shielding between cells, better thermal shielding, advanced battery management systems. This is where it gets really, really interesting. BMSs that detect faults faster. For example, they've doubled the amount of sensors within the batteries so that when a cell is seen to be overheating, the BMS can tell the car, turn on the air conditioning, cool the battery down as quick as possible to just keep it under, to try and drop the temperature in the battery as much as possible. And when you combine that with solid state batteries, for example, CATL, they're targeting 2027, you start to see why China thinks that it can actually hit zero fires. And it obviously makes sense to aim for it, even if it's not going to happen. If you're selling millions of cars, petrols, diesels, hybrids, batteries, you want, obviously fires are a bit of a crappy thing. You want to thwart that and stomp them out as quick as you can. So let's say in 2027 a fire happens on the streets of Shanghai, a new car. What happens? So the MIIT would launch an immediate investigation if the fire is traced back to a design failure in the battery or the vehicle platform, so the car or the battery. That's what they want to know. That's what they do actually already categorize batteries, vehicle fires as battery vehicle fires, or just a fire from a wire or something like that, or a catalytic converter. Once they've figured that out, the model could be pulled from the market, which indicates the threat of profit losses, for example. So they will want to comply, obviously, because they don't want to have a 6-month ban for sales by the Chinese government. Recalls could be forced. The battery pack could lose its certification for all future vehicles, which could also take months or years to to get that back again. And manufacturers could be banned from new registrations in China until the issue is fixed. So this isn't theoretical, this is already happening in pilot cases. If you look back to 2024, last year, a small EV brand, which I won't mention, was forced to pause deliveries for 3 months after a fire test failed under lab conditions. Didn't even make it out of the lab, and they paused it. So that shows the government isn't joking around, and of course the Chinese government, they're not really known for comedy. So what does this mean outside of China then? China builds 70% of the world's EVs and over 80% of the world's LFP batteries. If they set the standard at zero fires, then global OEMs will either match it or risk losing Chinese market access. That's obviously an issue. Safety expectations from customers will literally alter everywhere. Battery suppliers will also redesign globally to meet Chinese compliance. Obviously, it's the world's largest market for electric vehicles. In other words, this could trigger a thing we've never seen before, which is a global safety race, which is great. This is something that not many people talk about. A couple of people have. So just to sum up, China's new law, the ban for EV battery fires, comes into effect July 1st, 2026. It's enforced by the Ministry of Industry and Information technology in China. Car makers must prove thermal, impact, and charging safety, or they just can't sell it in China. So they've got to go through all these tests. BYD and CATL already compliant with their Blade battery, Qilin batteries. One fire post that date could mean massive penalties or fines or bans. So this sets the tone for the global battery safety standards. Again, this is coming from China, so they're pushing really hard to improve tech and raise the bar for standards. Is it going to be too hard to enforce on a global scale? What are the downsides? What are the little loopholes you see here for the manufacturers? What do you think the downsides of this law are? Let me know in the comments, and thank you very much for watching. I don't take your time for granted. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.